A few weeks ago, I went to a residence for elderly people to celebrate Mass. And the chaplain there, who set up the Mass for us and helps us coordinate the participation of the residents, she was telling me about how her daughter came into the Catholic Church this past Easter. And she was speaking very highly of the Catholic Church, and I know that she was a Quaker. So I felt like Paul, and I said, this is my opportunity to bring this woman closer to the Catholic Church, right? Because, her daughter is coming to the church. She's speaking so highly of the church. And I felt a nudge inside of me, like, bring up the topic. And a part of me was saying, I don't want to do this. But I said, I'll take the risk. So I asked her, and how's your journey to the Catholic Church going? And you know what she said? Who says I'm in a journey? Why am I bringing this story up? Because the first reading today, Paul with the Athenians preaching in the Areopagus, makes me think about how important it is to be generous when you sow the seed. If you think about it, Paul was an amazing preacher. Many scholars have studied this speech of his in the Areopagus, and they say it's an amazing speech. So insightful, so astute, the way he connects all the dots. And in spite of his great preaching, most of the people that day laughed at him and said, we'll hear about the resurrection a later day. But Paul was like the sower in the parable of the sower. He sowed with generosity. He wasn't stingy when he threw the seeds. He sowed with generosity. And a lot of the seeds that he threw fell into infertile ground that didn't give any fruit. But when you sow with generosity like Paul did, and like the parable says, there's always a portion of the seed that falls into good ground and gives fruit. Today we hear the name of two converts from that speech, Damaris and Dionysius. And I was thinking about my own experience, and I was asking myself, are you generous in sowing or are you stingy? Do you sometimes hold back because you're afraid of rejection? Or do you give yourself generously even when you're going to be rejected? And I was thinking about my own experience, how sometimes when I teach people how to pray, sometimes I tell them, come back in 21 days, tell me how it went. Other days I'm like, maybe they don't want to come back. Maybe they're going to reject my invitation. But today I said, be generous when you sow. So today, brothers and sisters, let me finish with this question. How are you doing with your sowing the gospel? Are you holding back because you're afraid of being rejected? Or are you being like Paul, who throws it abundantly, sometimes is ignored, but certain that the seed always falls into good ground?